National Broadcasting Company invites you by transcription to join The Chase. There's always the hunter and the hunted, the pursuer and the pursued. It may be the voice of authority or a race with death and destruction, the most relentless of the hunters. There are times when laughter is heard as counterpoint, and moments when sheer terror is the theme.
But always, there is the chase.
The name? Philip D. Cortlandt. You've probably seen it in the society columns. The D stands for Dexter. Mathilda Dexter, my maternal great-great-grandmother, a good friend of Betsy Ross. The background? Elliott Prep School for Young Gentlemen. Harvard, the Sorbonne. Age 36, deportment acceptable. Proficiencies? Polo, tennis, dancing, and spending money. A pleasant occupation for a man who lives on the income derived from a $20 million inheritance he never earned and believed would remain with him forever. Am I intruding, Carver?
Oh, not at all, Philip. I've been waiting for you. Please sit down.
Well, I don't have much time. Got a date to go shopping with Irene. She's selecting a wedding dress today. We're taking the plunge in less than a month.
Yes, I know.
Well, I must say you look like an honorary pallbearer this morning. Why so gloomy, Carver? Or don't lawyers ever smile?
I have bad news for you, Philip.
Oh? What's up? My creditor's misbehaving again? I meant to tell you that I overdrew this month, Carver, and I'll need an extra $20,000 to tide me over.
I'm afraid I can't give it to you.
Oh, well, then there's the wedding, of course. What did you say?
I said I can't give it to you, Phil.
Well, why not?
Because I don't have it.
Well, I'm not asking for a loan, old man. Just $20,000 of my own hard cash.
I should have said you don't have it. Cigarette?
No, thanks. What's the joke?
There is no joke.
I'm worth $20 million, and you tell me I can't get $20,000. I'm waiting for the point.
The point is, Phil, you're broke.
And you're crazy.
Here, read this. I received it this morning just before I called you.
Oh? Oh, it's from Malaya.
Yes.
What's all this about communists and rubber?
You've always been unconcerned about your business affairs, Philip. But surely you must know where your income came from.
Well, naturally. We own half the rubber on the Malay Peninsula. There's a $20 million investment. Hey, what is this? Now, stop stalling, Carver. Give it to me straight.
There was a battle in the jungle. The communist guerrillas couldn't win it, but they managed to set fire to thousands of acres. It was an inferno, Philip, and there's nothing left.
You mean it was our property?
Mostly.
Well, what about the land? They can still grow rubber, can't they?
The land was flooded. A dam was opened to stop the fire from spreading. There's nothing there now but charred tree trunks and slime. And it would take millions in money and years of labor to even partially restore it.
In other words, I've been wiped out just like that.
I'm afraid so. Here's an inventory of the salvageable equipment, worth about $7,000 in the open market.
$7,000? I owe my creditors $70,000.
What'll you do, Phil?
Get myself a tin cup and a box of pencils.
Phil!
What do you expect me to do? Never worked a day in my life. I've lived like a Maharaja's favorite son ever since I can remember. Get a job? Sure. But doing what? I can't even type. And how long do you suppose it'll take me to pay back $70,000 on, say, $40 a week?
Why, you're young.
And useless. It's a great combination.
You've still got Irene.
Yes. Yes, I've still got Irene. And that's just about all. But it never rains, friend. It pours. And I'm the original fall guy who forgot his umbrella. 1 hour later, in Irene's apartment, I got the final score.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Cortlandt.
Afternoon, Hazel. Will you tell Miss Osborne I'm here?
Miss Osborne's gone.
Well, when will she be back?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, where'd she go?
Europe?
She what?
She left this morning, Mr. Cortland, and told me to give you this note and her best regards.
The note was short and to the point. The wedding was off. She couldn't marry a man with no ambition, no matter how much he was worth. She didn't say it, but what she meant was, once a bum, always a bum. Cafe society wasn't her idea of an intelligent marriage, no matter how much he was worth. That was the biggest laugh of all. The next few weeks, I don't remember. There were phone calls. Speaking. Yes, you'll get your money. Give me time. I know how much I owe you, but I'll pay off. Just give me more time. I told you I'd pay you. Then go ahead and sue. I'll vacate the apartment tomorrow and leave me alone. How far do you go before you reach the breaking point? How high is up? What do you do when you're too old to begin all over again, too inept to hold a job, and too scared to put an end to it? Where do you travel when your ticket's all punched out? I don't recall exactly how I got his name. There was a conversation somewhere in a gin-scented bar. The name was dropped, and someone swore in a whiskey bass. Then I overheard an address and ended up at 1 o'clock in the morning in the back room of a pool room where a scar-faced hoodlum sat at a pockmarked table, fooling with a pack of greasy cards. Are you Mr. Monks?
Why?
I'm looking for service.
Who sent you?
Well, I can't mention the name, but he recommended you highly.
What's the story?
Well, I'm not sure yet whether it's tragedy or farce.
Huh?
But I want to hire you.
For what?
To kill someone.
Who?
Me.
You loaded, chum?
You deal in that sort of thing, don't you? For a fee, say, $2,000?
What's the gag, chum?
No gag. No gag. I want to get rid of myself, but I haven't the nerve to do it myself. Then there's my insurance.
Your insurance?
Almost $80,000. It'll pay my creditors and preserve the family honor. Only, you see, there's a suicide clause in it. That's why it has to be done by someone else.
And where does the $2,000 come in?
Oh, I have that right here. It was all I could borrow on the insurance. Will you accept it? It's in $100 bills.
Put it down. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It has to be
5,
done within the next 2 weeks
6,
before the insurance
7,
premium comes due.
8,
I can't pay
9,
it, you see.
10, 2 weeks, okay. 11, 12.
And I
13,
mustn't know it's going to happen.
14,
Do you understand?
15,
I've got to be taken by
16,
surprise.
17, 18, 20. You won't know it's coming, mister.
You'll do it yourself?
No.
Oh, then you'll delegate someone else to kill me.
Yeah.
What'll he use? A gun or a knife?
Maybe he won't use nothing. Maybe he'll just kind of push you easy-like in front of a truck or get you in a subway train.
I see.
Anyways, don't ask no questions. You said you didn't want to know when it hit.
Then you'll take care of it.
In style, chum. In style.
I was half in a stupor when I walked out the door, and I wandered around for several hours without knowing exactly where I was. It was just after dawn when I got home, and I settled down in my hole in the wall to await the coming of eternity. I was sitting in my shirt sleeves, staring at the wall when Carver came in.
Philip. Are you ill, Phil?
Oh, I'm just waiting, Carver.
For what?
The Iceman.
What?
I'm dressed correctly for the occasion, I believe, in an open shirt, a cigarette dangling from my fingers. Isn't that traditional for an execution?
Phil, snap out of it. I've got great news.
Great news.
You're rich, Philip. I've just received word your plantation's intact. It was someone else's property that was ruined.
I'm rich, you say?
I've been trying to reach you for hours. Look, I want you to sign this contract. You're selling out, Phil, for $22 million.
Huh?
Yeah, we're not taking any chances from here on in, my boy. We're selling out.
Selling out? No, don't lie to me, Carver. For heaven's sake, don't tell me this is a joke.
You're back on your millionaire feet again, Philip, and bigger and better than ever.
Phone. That's the phone.
I'll take it. You'd better sit down before you collapse. Hello.
Is Philip Cortland there, please?
Who's calling?
Just tell him it's Irene.
Oh, just a moment. Phil, it's for you, Irene.
Irene.
Now, well, I'll be on my way. It looks as though your luck's completely changed, old man.
Irene?
Oh, Phil, darling. How are you?
Well enough.
I just heard about your losing the plantation. Oh, darling, I'm so sorry.
But I thought you were on your way to Europe.
That was just a bluff. I thought that if I pretended to leave you, you might get some ambition.
Pretend?
Oh, darling, I couldn't leave you ever. Oh, please forgive me for being such a fool. I beg you.
Forgive you? Oh, if you only knew how easy that is. Irene, something's happened. The plantation isn't gone. I'm still rich, Irene. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Phil?
No.
Phil, you all right?
Oh, I've got to stop him. I've got to.
Phil, what's the matter?
Everything's happened so fast I'd completely forgotten. Monks. I'd made an arrangement with Monks for my own funeral. I have to get to him fast and call it off. I hurried out and hailed a cab. I gave him the address of the pool room and settled back in my seat, confident that Monks would be happy to keep the money and forget about the crazy arrangement I'd made. Oh, I must have been insane. But it wasn't too late. Or was it?
Well?
I'm looking for Mr. Monks.
Who?
Monks. He has a small office in the back of this pool room.
Not here, mister.
What?
Nobody here by that name.
Oh, now, you must be mistaken. I tell you, I spoke to him last night.
I'm sorry.
Now, just a minute.
What?
Let me in. Don't tell me that Monks isn't... What's happened here? The billiard tables, the walls, they're all charred. The place smells so smoky.
Yeah, well, if you give me a chance to talk instead of pushing your way in like that...
Tell me quickly. Has there been a fire?
Joint near burned down last night.
But Monks, where is he?
I tell you, I never heard of the guy. I'm just the caretaker for the owner of the building. But, maybe the police can help you, mister.
The police?
Yeah, they're looking for the guy who run this pool room. Found out he was a bookie. Maybe this fellow Monks was one of his pals.
Then there's no one left who can give me any information at all.
No. Hey, what goes, mister? You look like you're ready to keel over. You need any help?
There's no one who can help me now. Gone. I'd made a pact with a man who was going to kill me, and he was gone. And I didn't even know who my executioner was going to be. He told me he'd use someone else, and I wouldn't know what hit me when it happened. Everyone was my potential enemy. There was no place for me to go, no place for me to hide. I was marked, like beef on the hoof in a stockyard. I was marked for slaughter. I turned and stumbled out of the evil-smelling place. Carver. I must see Carver. He'd tell me what to do. In a feverish tension, I started to cross the street, my thoughts confused, my senses deadened. And I didn't see the truck as it turned the corner and roared in my direction. Halfway across, I raised my head, but it was almost too late. It was on top of me, bearing down like a juggernaut of death. By inches. It missed me by inches. Was it an accident? Or was it the first attempt to mark my account with monks? Services rendered in full.
Philip.
I need a drink, Carver.
Hey, what's the matter with you? You
A
look...
drink, quickly.
Yeah, well, right behind you in the sideboard. Hey, careful. You're going to drop that decanter. What's wrong, Phil?
I'm frightened, Carver. I've never been so frightened in my life.
What?
I'm being followed. I swear there was someone behind me all the way over here to your flat. 20 minutes ago, I was almost run down by a truck. Deliberately, Carver. He tried to run me down deliberately.
But who, Phil?
Who?
Yes.
I don't know.
You don't know?
They never told me what he'd look like when I made the deal.
What deal?
Carver, you've known me for 20 years. I'm completely sane, am I not?
Oh, of course.
Well, if I go to the police, they may not think so. It's so fantastic, I can hardly believe it now myself. I'm caught in a chase, Carver, a chase with death.
Oh, for the love of heaven, what's happened?
I paid a professional murderer to kill me.
You what?
I struck a bargain. I've got 10 days to live at the most.
Sit down, Philip. Just try to relax.
Well, you act as though it's unimportant. Don't you understand, Carver? I've paid for my own execution. Why are you looking in that phone book?
Just take it easy, Phil. There's a doctor I know, a psychiatrist.
You think I'm crazy, don't you?
Well, the loss of your money, your fiancé, well, those things can come as a shock. Phil,
You idiot, it's all true. Now get away from that phone before I should have known. He was looking at me with the condescension one reserves for excited children or the insane. That's how the police would see it, too, and why not? The thing was so fantastic, even I wonder whether it actually happened, whether I'd made such an incredible bargain. But he was reaching for that phone again, so I stopped him. Oh, now can't you take a joke?
A joke?
I'm afraid my sense of humor is getting rather morbid, Carver. I was just feeling kittenish, that's all. Now, don't embarrass me by carrying this nonsense too far.
Well, you gave me a turn there for a moment, Phil.
Did I?
Please, now, I know your reputation for practical jokes, but don't ever do that to me again.
What I actually came here to talk to you about was my money.
Oh, well, no problem there. I cabled an acceptance of the sale a little while ago. The amount will be placed to your credit at a bank in Singapore and then transferred here to your account.
How soon?
Oh, well, I should say the deal would be consummated within 2 weeks.
But that's too long.
Well, you need cash immediately?
Well, naturally.
Well, I'll arrange for the bank to advance you $5,000 or $10,000. Oh, excuse me. Hello. Who? Oh, yes, he's here. Hello. Hello. That's odd.
Well, who was it?
Well, someone asked for you and then hung up.
Someone asked for me. But I told no one I was coming here. No one.
Phil.
There's a service entrance to this apartment, isn't there?
Yes, but...
Where is it? Tell me.
Well, it's through the kitchen, the back stairs. Phil, wait! Phil!
The stairs led down to an alleyway that led in turn to the street. I stopped at the entrance, then looked left and right before pulling up my coat collar and hurrying towards the corner. Suddenly, I glanced behind me and saw a shadow near the entrance to the house. The shadow moved, and so did I. There was no time to look for a cab, but I saw a subway kiosk. Without thinking clearly, I ran down the steps and into the cavernous gloom where I waited like a hunted rabbit for the next express. I pushed in with the crowd and found myself wedged inside the vegetable as the subway started to leave. The car was stifling. I was jammed in so tightly with the rest I could barely move. At that point, I heard a heavy breathing right behind me, virtually on top of my neck. I twisted my head a bit and saw I was squeezed in next to a heavy-set thug who seemed to be pressing something hard against my spine. He wouldn't dare. Not in that crowd. And then I remembered.
Maybe he won't use nothing. Maybe he'll just kind of push you easy like in front of a truck. Or get you in a subway train.
I started to sweat. My lungs were burning, and I couldn't draw my breath. Was it coming? Was I going to get it here, surrounded by dozens of people who couldn't raise a finger to save me? And then the train reached the station. The door sprang open, and with my last ounce of strength, I lunged. Let me out of here! Let me out! Hello, this is Mr. Cortlandt speaking. Your next boat, when does it leave? I don't care where it goes, just when. Oh, midnight? Well, is there a single booking available? Yes. Cortland, Courtland. Yes, I'll pick up the ticket at the pier. Who's there?
Philip, it's Irene.
Oh, is there anyone with you?
No.
Come in quickly.
Phil, what's the matter? I've tried to call you for days. Where have you been?
Here, I didn't answer any phone calls.
Oh, your room. Empty food tins. Bottles. What does this mean, Phil?
I've been eating indoors, that's all.
But why?
Because I wanted to. Does that answer your silly question?
You're ill, darling. You need a rest.
Is that what Carver told you?
He said he hadn't been able to reach you in over a week. Why have you been hiding, Philip? Why have you been living here like a hermit
Will
when
you do me a favor, Irene?
Of course.
Get me a taxi.
A taxi?
Yes, but not in the ordinary way. Go east 3 blocks, then turn west on the avenue. Hail the third empty that passes and give him this address. Tell him to come upstairs here and knock twice. Offer him this $20 bill and say there's 50 more when he gets here.
Phil, why all this childish...
Childish, is it? Will you do as I ask?
Yes. Yes, of course I will. Will you tell me first where you're going?
I'm leaving the country. For good.
Alone?
Alone.
I see.
Forget about me, Irene. Find someone else. You'll never see me again.
Good luck, Phil.
Sure.
And goodbye.
So it was finished. But I didn't care. She'd have been a widow even before she was a wife. 20 minutes later, there was a knock on my door. The hacky she called had arrived. Who's there?
Mr. Courtland?
Well?
Got my cab downstairs.
Oh, come in. Were you followed?
Followed?
Did anyone see you come up here?
No.
Well, I'll be with you in a moment, just as soon as I close this suitcase. There. What are you staring at?
Nothing.
You were staring at me just now. Why?
Look, I ain't got all day, mister. You coming or ain't you?
Take my suitcase down. I'll follow you. I was suspicious of everyone, but I had to trust him at least until I reached the pier. Oh, the cabbie was safe. Of course he was. He had to be after all the instructions I gave Irene. I tried to get hold of myself. Just 20 minutes and I'd be on my way to freedom.
Where to, mister?
The pier, 107. And hurry, will you?
There's a lot of traffic, but I'll do my best.
Driver,
Yeah?
look behind us in your mirror.
And what gives?
That car, the one with the bright headlights, is it following us?
Are you kidding?
I tell you, it's been behind us for the last 2 blocks.
So what?
Turn left at this corner.
Thought you wanted to get there in a hurry. That's out of our way.
Turn left, I tell you.
Okay.
No, I was wrong. He kept on moving.
Oh, now what?
To the pier direct.
I know a shortcut.
Oh, you do?
May as well take it.
He turned off the avenue and cut through a warehouse district I didn't know. The streets were dark and empty, and the unlighted windows in the deserted buildings looked down with vacant, brooding eyes. Then, for the first time, I noticed the slot above me, where the driver's identification card should be, and saw that it was empty. Driver,
Yeah?
get off this street.
Get what?
Get back on the avenue in the traffic.
But the pier's 6 blocks away.
Never mind the pier. Do as I say. What are you stopping for?
For you, mister. You're getting out.
I'm what?
You're either cockeyed or nuts, and I ain't buying any part of neither. Now start walking, pronto.
I stepped out of the car, walked up the empty street. But he wasn't fooling me. He wanted to get me out of the cab so he could finish me off. But this time, I was one step ahead of him. Sure enough, I heard him behind me, following slowly in his hack, waiting for the right moment to strike. But just as it came abreast, I stepped into the shadows out of sight against the wall in what looked like a parking lot. And waited. He stopped the cab and stepped out on the walk. He looked around for a moment, opened and closed the rear door, then moved in my direction. My foot pushed something heavy. I bent down to pick it up. It was a rock the size of a melon, and I held it poised above my head as I heard him moving closer and closer to the wall.
Hey, mister. You there, mister? Hey, mister. Oh.
I caught him squarely, and he dropped like a log. But when I bent over him and raised his head...
What? Why'd you do it, mister? I only wanted to tell you. You forgot your bag?
The trial was held inside a week, and I didn't bother to tell my story because I knew they wouldn't believe me. They called it murder in the second degree, and they sentenced me to 20 years. A few days later, I was on board the train, handcuffed to a detective, headed for the state penitentiary 50 miles away. But at least it was over, and as I stepped inside the prison yard for the first time, I felt a sense of relief. It was late afternoon, and the inmates were all in the yard, the free period, they called it, when I heard a voice behind me, a familiar voice, a voice I never hoped to hear again.
Ain't your name Cortland, mister?
Monks.
I thought I recognized your pan. How you doing?
Monks, you're here in prison, too?
Been here since the day we made that deal.
But you tried to go through with the bargain, didn't you? You sent that cab driver?
What cab driver?
You mean it wasn't?
You ain't getting that 2 G's back because I'm in here for a long, long stretch. Yeah, they grabbed me half an hour after you left the pool room, mister. I never had the chance to put the finger on you at all.
In the animal world, there is the hunter and the hunted, hound and fox, hawk and sparrow, cat and mouse. We in the topmost species have also joined the hunt. But who is to judge precisely which of us are hounds or foxes as we enter the chase? The Chase was created and written for the National Broadcasting Company by Lawrence Klee. Featured in tonight's cast were Benton Hayworth, Kenneth Lynch, Rita Allen, Richard Newton, and Bill Quinn. The Chase is directed and transcribed by Ed King.
Tonight, attend Theater Guild on the Air over NBC.